Hello, hello. Thank you for people who are here. Can I get a round of applause for my guest, please? This is Karan Anand,
Thank you.
CEO of Character.AI. Now, a lot of you have probably heard of Character.AI, and I guess, Karan, maybe we should just talk about the elephant in the room. You've had a couple of serious lawsuits that are underway after at least 2 teenagers died by suicide after time spent on the platform. Now, this happened before you came to join. You came back, or you came to lead the company in June this year, was it?
Mm-hmm.
How are you addressing this?
Yeah, I think you bring up a very important point, Rebecca. The idea of safety in the world of AI is a very, very rapidly evolving field. And do we all fully understand, how AI is being used, how it's being developed? I think that's definitely a question for the entire industry, for Character.AI as well, but OpenAI, Meta, we're all working pretty quickly to understand and rapidly iterate on what it means to think about the whole notion of end-to-end safety for longitudinal, long conversations with chatbots, all up. But I think the way I look at it is most technology, especially something like AI, which has no prior with the speed and scale at which it's growing, we have to lean in to work very closely with regulators to make sure this is something we understand really well. Mm-hmm. To answer your question on how I see it, I walked in with my eyes open, like this is the most fascinatingly hard technical problem in the world that we are solving together. And luckily, I inherited something fantastic at Character, where we've been doing a lot of cutting-edge work on safety for way before I even joined. Mm-hmm. So last 12 months, I think AI is the only product I know of which offers a very different under 18 experience, exactly for that reason, which is we believe that the platform has to be open to everyone, but there are different experiences we can give to teen users than over 18 users.
Yes, and you've actually had some news that came out today that I covered this morning, very early. And I would love you if you can tell everyone about this, because this is actually pretty big news, and I think it will have some pretty serious implications.
Indeed. So this morning we announced that Character.AI, in fact, we had 3 pieces of the announcement this morning. We announced Character.AI will no longer allow chatbot conversations for teen users on our platform. And it's a pretty big, bold statement to make in the industry, and hence it's a news way beyond Character. We hope that this gets the right conversations going across the whole industry. And I would be very curious to see what's happening in OpenAI and Meta as they're looking at this news on what our decision means to the broader industry. But our belief comes from everything we've done in the last over 12 months, which is we've always had a very different under 18 experience to start with. And today we're taking the next step forward, where we believe we can serve our mission of having AI entertainment done in far better experiences, which are multimodal. So audio, video, audiobooks, short videos, AI-based feed. There's so many more amazing technologies available, thanks to all the research that's happened, that is a much better way to serve AI entertainment than only giving access to chatbots. So I think that's a pretty big announcement that we made today. And then with that, we also are coupling with 2 important things. One is when users say we are over 18, we can assure that they are actually over 18. So we're rolling out a whole host of age assurance and age verification capabilities on the platform. Again, something way ahead of what anyone else needs us to do. So it's one of the things we believe in, doing what's right for the community, especially in a space like AI where a lot is still unknown. Mm-hmm. And I'll cover the third part real quick as well. I'm sure a lot of you are working in the space of AI, and AI is a very rapidly evolving field, and our changes of safety is not a one-time effort. We want to make sure we take all the learnings we've had, but start partnering with industry. So we're creating this thing called the AI Safety Lab. It's a nonprofit that we are partnering with industry contributors from a whole host of academia, researchers, and other commercial companies as well, to make sure we can advance what does safety mean in the world of AI.
Yeah. This is it's a positive next step. I think a lot of people are seeing the effect that AI companions, AI chatbots are having on people at large, but especially teenagers, and they're not very happy with it. Someone actually stopped me, a former coworker stopped me about this news and said that this will save lives. So I think that that's really important, and in terms of setting an industry standard. But I also wanted to ask you, I think yesterday, Senators Hawley and Blumenthal, they They introduced, or they're planning to introduce, some legislation that would ban AI companion chatbots for children. Did you know this was coming?
No, we did not know this was coming, and we're still reviewing the bills that were proposed yesterday. But at the outset, I think I would really want to applaud Senator Hawley and his co-sponsor, Senator Benthal as well, because the meat of the content of the bill sounds very similar to the announcements we're already making today. And we're looking forward to an opportunity to engage with them and go lean in, because one thing I've learned, and having worked in social media world for a very long time, one biggest learning I had is you cannot take trust and safety and fix it after you build a very large platform. So the fact that we can engage with regulators, we can engage with academia at this point, I think is the right way to build AI at the get-go to be safer and smarter and engaging versus those things being trade-offs. So I'm looking forward to actually reading through the whole bill and understanding what it means to us, but industry as a whole.
Interesting that you say, though, that you can't kind of backtrack, right? So like, obviously you worked at Meta before. Meta's had some pretty bad press recently about how they allow their chatbots to talk to children. They've since changed their internal guidelines apparently, but long story short, they were allowed to have sensual, romantic chats with children, which is, pretty shocking, I think. What do you, how do you see the industry as a whole approaching this? Do you think they're being irresponsible?
I think the learning we've had is you have to treat your teen users very differently than your over 18 users. And that's the reason why, even though we're a very small startup, we're a 70 people startup today, we have over-invested in creating a very different safe experience for under 18 users, because that's the responsible thing to do, to your point. Mm-hmm. Now, larger companies have a lot more resources to throw at it, and I've seen some very, very cutting-edge work coming out of OpenAI's research on the work they're doing on things like psychosis and understanding mental health issues. And I really hope that that becomes mainstream and the real use of AI to go solve these problems in the right way. So overall, I think our stance, which is the reason why I'm very proud of the team at Character, which I'm sure there are hard days when we are doing both under 18 work and over 18 work, but I think we responsibly want to keep investing in something like that, because we don't want to look back 5 years and saying, oh wow, we could have built this differently.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting you say that, with under 18s you have to do this. I think that what we've learned from the social media era is, this, technology has an outsized impact on teen mental health, but what we've also learned is that companies, while they may have the resources to combat this, they also have the money to pay off whatever settlements. Like, they don't need to do it. They don't need to be responsible, because they will still have users coming to their platform. We're all still on Facebook, right? Or maybe not Facebook, but what do you think about that? I mean, that you're taking a risk here. You told me previously that when you implemented quite a few of your parental controls and other safeguards for under 18s, you lost millions of users. And I can only imagine this will lose you some more. They might just go over to OpenAI, where they can talk to ChatGPT ad nauseum.
Yeah. Rebecca, I have a 6-year-old. So as a parent myself, I take my job very, very seriously. That's the reason why I'm very, very proud of the announcements we're making today, because we can optimize for short-term profits, anyone can, and we understand investor pressure, we all understand board pressure, we understand Wall Street pressure, but the magnitude of AI's impact in our lives is so large, it's kind of even hard to wrap our heads around it, that if we don't take the effort to go build this right, we will all regret it. That's the reason why, I keep going back to the point saying I'm very, very proud of the team, which actually takes these challenges. And yes, to your earlier point, we did lose a lot of users back in January, February, when we had a very different under 18 experience, which was far more constrained than what we offered over 18. And as we look back, I think that's the right thing we did back then. And today's decisions are one step forward on that. Luckily, though, I'm also very, very bullish on the power of technology. So the reason why today's announcements, it's the right time to do it, is the team has worked on insane amount of cutting-edge audio, video models. By the way, a lot of them are open source now, so you can actually use a lot of this video tech. That we now know you don't have to give chatbots as text for people to have entertainment. You can create short videos, you can remix videos, you can create your storybooks, you can have audiobooks which you can interact with. There's so many cool ways to interact. So let's lean on technology and innovation as a way to go circumvent, because most of the industry ends up making this a trade-off. You You can either be safe or you can be engaging. I think what we learned is how to break those trade-offs.
Yeah, and I do want to talk a little bit more about the way that you're kind of positioning Character.AI as more of a role-playing entertainment platform than a companion chatbot platform. But before I do, you are still allowing these kinds of open-ended chats with adults. This is not a problem for adults, right? Like I know Sam Altman says we want to treat adults like adults, but like still people are having, there's bad side effects to constantly being validated or spending all of your time chatting immersed in this kind of reality essentially. So why doesn't it matter for adults?
I think safety applies to adults as well. There should be no question about whether safety applies to under 18 or over 18. I think that's not even a choice. It applies across the board. I think under 18 is a far more sensitive audience than over 18. With over 18, our stance is not that this is free for all. We don't have animated sex bots. We do not do the NSFW chats, and that's both.
Let's save that for Grok.
I was trying not to use names of my friendly competitors, but
I'll throw names out.
I'm glad you did. But I think that's a very clear business decision we made. We do not want to be the NSFW sex chat app because we're trying to build a much broader entertainment platform. So think of Roblox, think of Netflix. That's how we see ourselves. And luckily, we are the leading AI entertainment platform today. And when you do that, yes, I think over 18 can definitely do more. But we have very clear content moderation and principles for what can happen even for over 18. So explicit sexual conversations, we still ban them. Extreme violence, we still ban them. But we allow people to express themselves through storytelling and role play. Vampire is a very big theme, especially given Halloween this week. A lot of conversations this week happen to be around Halloween. If people are talking about zombies and blood and gore, it's okay. I'm not going to censor that.
Yeah.
But we definitely draw some lines.
Okay, so yeah, talk to me a little bit more about this. So what does it mean to have a role-playing entertainment platform? You've talked to me a lot about the new feed. So basically you can you can use whatever role-playing character you've created or one that you're playing with, and you can create video out of them and post it to a feed, and others can interact with it. Is that right?
It is. That's a pretty good summary. Actually, so why do people come to Character.AI? And it's been, the product's been around for over 3 years, and people want a creative outlet. Entertainment is a very core part of what makes us human. And when users come up to Character.AI, they really want to explore this world-building paradigms. 3 years ago, the only way they could do that was to have a chatbot. And it's kind of ironic, like when you look at most AI products today are still a chatbot. The technology has come so much further since then that you can actually express yourself through interactive storybooks, interactive audiobooks. No longer do I need to read or watch a movie somebody else created. I can watch a scene, and real time with where Gen AI video tech is today, you can remix the entire scene to whichever ending you want. And that's what users are doing on the platform. They start with the scene, and they're role-playing. Think of Dungeons and Dragons. You play, like, I don't like this ending. I want to have a different ending. You can prompt the model, and it'll real time generate an entire different ending. And that's what people post in feed. You see my feed, you're like, wow, I like the different ending, but I would love for, my favorite example, even though it's not on the platform anymore, is how should Game of Thrones end?
Oh, God.
Should Daenerys die? Should Jon Snow die? And now, you can have every version of that story if you wanted to.
Okay. Can you have every version of that story? So I know that Character has had some of that story specifically because I know you've had some issues with copyright, and you've recently had to remove like a bunch of Disney characters, which, according to your Reddit page, really pissed some people off. So how are you thinking about that?
Yeah, I walked straight into that, didn't I?
Yeah, sorry.
But, yeah. Also, I think the reason I do want to talk about this, I think it's a very important part of evolution of the AI industry. What does IP and copyright mean in a world where somebody watches Game of Thrones, and their fans really want to take the conversation forward? They really want to come and engage on the platform on what would happen if. And these are, all the content on our platform is user-generated content. So users want to bring their imagination, and these are huge fans of all of these big IP houses. And our goal is like, hey, if the user wants to go create this, bring their own characters, they should be allowed to do it. And understandably so, a lot of the copyright holders don't yet understand what is, in the world of Gen AI, copyright versus fan fiction versus UGC, and I think the industry is still struggling with that. That's the reason I walked into that example is, We honor DMCA takedown, so when Disney asked us to take all the characters down, we immediately did. And the users then get, obviously it kind of hurts the user sentiment, but users are like, okay, I'm going to still role play. I'm going to still figure out other ways to go express my creativity, so they do that, but I'm hoping that in the coming weeks, months, years, we're able to work with a lot of the IP holders to saying, this is the best way, especially with Gen Z and Gen Alpha, for you to nurture your fans here.
Yeah.
Like, these people will tell you how Game of Thrones should have ended.
Yeah, well, existing IP is huge, as we can all tell from the nonstop onslaught of our movies and our TV shows, just the same stuff over and over and again. Will you have to raise more money to be able to get those IP licenses? Like when I talk to AI entertainment companies, a lot of the things they spend their money on is those licenses and trying to do those deals.
Any investors in the room? I will happily hand my business cards out. But yes, I think this is definitely a very expensive industry to be in. AI, serving AI itself is very, very expensive than anything we've done in the past. Those tokens do cost a lot of money. So the good thing is we started focusing heavily on unit economics and monetization. So this year, the team has done fantastic work in dialing up the subscriptions, advertising, and we're looking at other ways to tap into the creator economy to increase our own monetization, so we rely less on external funding. But that being said, given how expensive this is and how much demand there is for it, we definitely are open to conversations with both investors, but also distribution partners, IP partners. But ultimately, the way this works, Rebecca, in my opinion, is there has to be enough revenue sharing that's happening. So versus it just being funding, and you're buying it one time, there has to be a very clear rev share. So this is an ongoing economy that we end up building. And yeah, the world will look very different, and the way the money gets cut will look very different. But my hope is that industry will very quickly wrap their heads around what does IP look like, what does rev share look like, and what's the role of creators, the platforms, and the IP holders and the users in this new, fully Gen AI-powered platform.
Mm-hmm. When you say rev share, do you mean with some of the creators on your platform as well?
Indeed. So one of the little-known secrets about what makes characters so sticky and so powerful is we have 3 million creators on the platform, and they're the ones who are creating the characters. So yes, you and I can walk up to the platform, we can go create a new character, and there are 100 million of those characters, but the most engaging ones come from the creators. And today, these creators are doing amazing work in writing the lore, the backstory, the avatars for these characters, so people can visualize who they're talking to. But we want to be able to open up economic opportunities for them. So when their characters, their videos are being used, they should be able to participate through in-app purchases, to virtual currency, and I think that's the path forward for us.
In-app purchases, virtual currency. You're getting into dicey territory again. I believe the FTC didn't they recently do an investigation, or there was a settlement with Epic Games because of in-app purchases being potentially manipulative or deceptive, and it's just, it's another dicey field to get into. How do you protect yourself?
I think we always, if you're on the cutting edge of technology, you'll always be dealing with what is the right way to do it. The way we handle it, I think we've done a fantastic job in handling safety. I think similarly, there are a lot of good ways to go handle monetization as well, where creators do get to participate. So it's less about typical games, we're doing a lot of in-app purchase. It's about how do you do true creator tipping. So creator tipping is an example of, if you're creating content, you'd be tipping the creator for creating more content. That's an example of it's still virtual currency, and still in-app purchase, but it's not the traditional gaming style in-app buying skins or buying swords, though I have no issues against that either. But that's an example of there are other ways to go solve. And in all of these cases, we ask the same question: is there a way to break this trade-off?
Yeah. Okay, so as you make this pivot, this switch to more of an entertainment platform, obviously there's going to be so many iterations of this. You have to be quick on your feet. Do you think that this will be enough to keep users, under 18 users specifically, on the platform? Do you think there'll be a churn, there'll be a different set of users that are attracted to the platform instead?
Yeah. Over the last 6 months, we've launched a lot of very cool new features. So 3 years ago, walking up to a chatbot was very novel. But over the last 6 months, we've launched something called Avatar FX. This is before Google VO3, so none of these things existed, and we had a full UGC-powered video creation tool working on the platform at scale. Similarly, we launched a whole bunch of video models. We launched streams. We launched scenes. A lot of these are, in my opinion, far better ways to explore creativity and do role-playing in gaming than the text box-based chat were. So I'm very, very hopeful that the innovation that the team's been doing actually lends us to be on a cutting edge of what entertainment could be versus what was cool 3 years ago in the world of entertainment with chatbots.
So there's an ability to, obviously, as we talked about, scroll on this feed. You've once told me that you want to end doom scrolling. I guess okay, so maybe under 18s can't spend hours upon hours having an open-ended role-playing chat, but is it better that they're just doing TikTok for fiction?
I have very strong feelings about doom scrolling coming from a past life. We definitely, and that's the reason that our entire feed is not designed to be infinitely scrollable content of algorithms feeding you content. I think there's now enough studies.
Well, then how will you keep people engaged? How could you possibly?
Because you have to give them creative outlets to go create the story, be part of the story, immerse. So think of the examples I talked about. So you see a short video. You don't want to say, hey, go scroll, find the next one, find the next one. You want them to jump in and create their next turn of the story. So I think the more we lean into interactivity and creation, the better it is for both the gray cells, overall health, but also that is what Gen AI finally does, which was impossible in the past. The reason at Meta and TikTok, all of us, all we could do is we could use ML to just tell you what next content to watch. With Gen AI, we don't need to wait for that. We can give you the tools to go create the content that you want to play in. So everything that used to be just dumb consumption can very rapidly shift to interactive entertainment. I think that is finally technically possible. Still pretty hard, still pretty expensive, but I think it's finally possible, and Character.AI happens to be on a very cutting edge of making that possible.
Okay. If you have any predictions for how you think AI is going to change the entertainment industry going forward, I'd love to hear them.
Oh, I have such strong opinions on that one, but predicting anything in the world of AI is a fool's errand. So, but there are three things which are relatively safer bets to make. One, if you genuinely believe the world is evolved into AGI, people will have more time. In the world of more time, entertainment and entertainment experiences will become even more critical to get right than in the world of last 10 years, where all of these big companies, Google, Meta, Snap, all of us were competing for the same 4 hours of time. People will have more time. So I think one is the share of the pie is increasing for time for entertainment. The second thing is, I think, and there's enough studies after studies, the world of doom scrolling is gone, because people have realized that if all you're doing is consuming content one way, your brain cells do start getting weaker. So, and most people, and that's the reason why on social media, the time spent is actually declining, especially with the younger audiences, because they want to be creating, they do not want to be consuming. So that second trend on its own would not do much, except for the third part, which is Gen AI allows you to infinitely remix the content and create the content at a much cheaper cost, which is the last part, which is earlier or in the last era, entertainment was a one-to-many broadcast, like a big studio. I love Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast has a whole production army to go create content. Everyone in this room can be Mr. Beast.
We're decentralizing entertainment, people. Thank you so much, Karan, for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me, Rebecca.
I'm one of the Equity Podcast hosts.
Thank you so much.